Peggy 18.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Planetbase Season 2 here on Not Your Professional Walkthrough channel with me, your host Max. Okay, so I have been thinking, because overall this is the freaking same layout that we had previously. So we're gonna learn from our previous mistakes, and we are going to try and change a couple of things. Okay, we're still not getting any armed intruders, so that's great news. Regarding to the armed intruders and potential supplies which might be coming in, I have come up with a plan. Now, my original idea, and I'm gonna have to go for this open space in order to showcase it to you, was to consider trying to build 2 starports, which would be surrounded by at least 4 or 6 airlocks, all connected to the security centers. This way we can make sure that whenever we get a larger ship which can hold on to more stock or can provide us with even more supplies, we should be able to supply it. The big issue which I came across in the first season was that I, for example, had to what was the word I'm looking for? Like turn off the original landing pad because way too many things were connected to it. And I was unable to construct a security center that would be attached to it. Also, another thing which I thought of when I was thinking about this idea of like making these 2 work here is that it would basically create a massive logistical issue with how to feed and how to construct all the domes in this surrounding area. So, because it's gonna be too much of an unrealistic situation, I thought what would be a better option. And the second option, which I came up with, lays around somewhere in this section of the map. Now, thanks to the fact that first season happened in the same location, what I know is that I will be unable to pass through this section of the world, and here I'm gonna be able to keep at least external structures. So therefore, if I would turn, for example, this corner of the world into 2 starports, I should be able to build like 2 to 3 airlocks that would be connected to 2 security centers, and behind those we can build another cantina, another biodome, another stuff that can run supplies through this, and therefore we would be forcing our staff or our colonists to maintain in this section of the colony as well as in the original section of the colony. I don't really want to go and build up this part once again with, I don't know, like a dorm or something, because I just know that sure it's gonna be able to be squeezed in here, but I can build dorms over by this mountain range and we can still expand into this area. So overall, there are a lot of options with what we can do. Another thing which I have been considering is that since we don't actually require the laser to defeat the meteorites, what I can rely upon is having only the security center or the control center, which would provide us with sufficient amount of people that can work on the same time on the what's the word? God damn it. Yeah, on the telescopes. So basically, we can at least know that the blizzard will be coming around so that I can take in everyone inside. Now, the biggest issue into which we came across ever since I started the playthrough for the ice planet is that I see a dramatic increase in the consumption of the spare parts. So since I actually currently possess only 4 engineers and I have only 1 construction robot, this is causing issue because we are unable to maintain a steady production of the metal or bioplastic. Because we don't have enough metal and enough bioplastic, we are unable to create enough spare parts and enough semiconductors for the robotics production. So what I want to do is that whenever we get a ship which contains spare parts which are still sitting outside here for some reason, I'm gonna try to get at least like 1 or 2 out of them. I'm gonna be ditching stuff like starch anyhow. If you watch the first season, it was at the end of the game especially one of the most heavily traded commodities which I possessed, because despite the fact that I had 200 pieces of vegetable or 200 pieces of vitro meat, my colonists refused to maintain fully stacked meal makers, and due to this we were constantly running into the issue of starvation, and eventually I ran into the issue where the colonist ships just refuse to show up no matter what the hell you try to do. And I mean, I tried to close the game, I tried to restart the game, I tried for like 2 days and night cycles to switch off the colonist ships to be coming in, and then I tried turning them on. I tried completely shutting down all the landing pads, then shutting them back on, or well, turning them back on, shutting them on. That's not a word in English language, but I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about this channel. I butcher the gameplay and the language, so welcome if you're a newcomer. So the idea is to create a one big place through which we can trade with larger ships, get in our new colonists, and then force them to spread around from one corner of the map into the other segments. Thanks to the fact that we do not have to bother with meteorites, and the fact that the internal structures don't actually take any form of damage from the blizzards. So the only thing which I need to maintain are the solar panels, are the turbines, are the water extractors, and whatever else we might come across, will mean that I should be theoretically able to cram in a lot of domes here, which will create the core of the colony where most of the production, food consumption, and other necessities will be fulfilled for our colony. I know that this is a tougher planet to beat because we are dealing with different set of conditions. In one episode, I came across many more blizzards than I came across sandstorms in the first season. And especially if I take a look at the condition at which our wind turbines are deteriorating, I'm gonna make sure that we get a steady supply of spare parts. Okay, we are getting way too many biologists, and I really don't want to end up like in the first season with 60 biologists, having 200 and 200 food, everyone dying of starvation, especially other classes such as workers, engineers, medics, guards. So we are gonna have to turn this around somehow. Now, I'm not really sure what are my chances that if I were to install security center in here and put there an armory, we would start seeing some of the armed intruders already. But what I can tell you for sure is that we need to expand our farming because we have now more biologists, which means we should be able to supply the colony with more food. Now, one major issue into which I ran on the previous episodes was the lack of possibility to sustain all the crops and make sure that their status or condition was in the green zone. So we're gonna try to keep it that way. Also, because I want to increase the production of the bioplastic or the metal, we're gonna definitely need to expand our processing plant output. And I'm not really sure how to pull this off as of yet. This was a constant issue for me, especially in the first season. So, despite the fact that the max population was 200 people, what turned out that my downfall was basically somewhere around the NPCs not being willing to supply the meal makers, not enough new workforce being brought in, and the fact that just the balance of my gameplay was really bad. So I'm gonna try to actually change that. We're gonna have to switch to engineers and workers for now. The reason behind this decision is that despite the fact that we have workers, I will need to rely upon them being able to obtain quantities of things which will be able to supply us with production of materials and resources. As of yet, I do not possess sufficient quantities of robots. This is going to negatively affect especially my engineers and my workers. And if you were able to see the first two episodes, what you were able to observe is the fact that way too many workers got injured serving in the mines. So we're going to have to address this most definitely. Now, I'm not really sure if it will be required of me to have the processing plants on high priority throughout the entire gameplay, and also the same thing for like the factory so that we can get some spare parts up and running. The production so far is lacking, should I say, and despite the fact that I see an engineer carrying over storage, well, I cannot whoop his ass for doing dumb choices like this. You know, he takes starch from the biodome, he takes it somewhere else, then he goes to eat, and then he goes to sleep, and that's his day. So we're gonna need to make sure that they are fully occupied and that we are gonna be able to supply our colony. So I'm gonna have to definitely make sure to expand the overall production of just about anything and everything our colony will require. Will this take me only one episode? Heck no. Even Rome was not built in a day, and especially what I thought of was to build larger domes on the outer side of this line and try to exchange these two for its larger variations. Therefore, we would have actually the larger cantinas available to us. Okay, we have a trading ship here. Unfortunately, he does not possess anything that I do require. So that is actually great because despite him having 45% commission, we're gonna see how much coins, God, I hate the name of the currency in this game, we can get. So trading 30 pieces of starch through one airlock is gonna create a choke point. This is why I want to make sure that if I decide to construct the two spaceports over there or God knows where else, we're gonna have sufficient amount of walking in and out channels to supply the demand. Because sure, I can want to supply this ship with 23 pieces of storage, but if you were able to see my first season, what I did in this section was that I built a starport and I did only one airlock connected to it. And that created a downfall because I once tried to load in like 80 pieces of storage into the ship. A sandstorm arrived, so I had to raise the alarm, and that meant that the supply trade, or the supply line, better said, was cut off completely, and because the ship is on a specific timer, which I cannot access, the ship just left. So we were left with 80 pieces of starch sitting on that starport. So it was really negative, because even if a next ship arrived, I wasn't able to tell apart what supplies were dropped off and what supplies were still supposed to be able to be loaded onto the next vessel. So we're gonna definitely have to take apart this landing pad eventually. But because the landing pad is so far the only lifeline which we have to more colonists, I cannot touch it right now. So what I'm gonna have to do is try to expand through here, and I'm not really sure what would be the next best structure to try and build here. You see, building two of the cantinas next to each other might work perfectly fine. The main problem which I might run into with that later on is the fact that if all of the meal makers have been depleted at the same time, and we have a stupid high concentration of colonists in one place, this is gonna create another fiasco with the whole starvation, because by the time you put in additional wheat and mushrooms or other crops which we might eventually try to grow, why do I keep getting only medical traders? The biggest problem which this will create is the fact that the colonists will need to wait for the meal makers to create new meals. This is going to negatively affect us in that point of view, that by the time that happens, the programming of the NPC will try to move them onto another task, or make them go to sleep, or just make them cranky and unhappy, and that is something that I really don't want, because I am completely out of metal or bioplastic. I cannot afford to do just about anything. How are the mines? The mines have occupants. We are sitting on metal. However, what I do not see is anyone manning the workstation, and I think we just got like 2 new workers, because they just went into the mines. So one thing which I'm thinking, because this storage might eventually get crammed in, and I don't think that building the big domes is the most efficient use. I have seen this plenty of times, especially with the biodomes. If I was building those massive biodomes, the biggest issue was that due to the NPCs and how they try to process all the plants and manage them, they came in, they managed only a couple of plants, and then they tried to move on to the next thing. So I think what we might try to do is stick with maximum size of these types of biodomes. So these are the large ones. Now I know I'm gonna still try to obtain eventually like the recipes for, let's say, the extra large biodome or whatever structure there might be, but until that point we're gonna have to try and rely upon some other mechanics. We're gonna go to workers, and if we reach like 15 workers, 15 biologists, I'm gonna shut down the influx of new people for now. We have only 2 dorms. Each dorm possesses 6 or 7 bunks. No, this actually one has 8. And this is a smaller one which has only 6. So that is 8 times 2, that's 16, and this is 12. So we do not have as many bunks as we have colonists. At least I think. I don't know, my math is horrible. which might explain some of the issues which we might run into eventually here with the colony. But until that point, I'm gonna try to expand the overall colony to as healthy state as possible, but I'm gonna try to make sure that whatever I'm doing will not negatively affect the colony. Will I keep this lab here? Will I keep this cantina here? Even if it would mean for me to, let's say, build one large cantina and connect it to this biodome and this storage, I'm gonna go for it. But maybe I'm gonna try to just build a larger laboratory somewhere around here, and therefore we won't have the two cantinas packed onto one another, just like I said. Okay, now here we have an interesting thing, because I can obtain recipe for construction robots, but he has 65% commission. But we can also grab the robot. This is the cool thing. I can theoretically pay off the entire thing using the coins, which I really don't want to do. And because he has 57 pieces of inventory left in his cargo bay, I'm gonna try to cram in as much junk as I can and pay off the rest only using the coins. So let's see if we can cram in bunch of starch, bunch of ore, lots of the medical plants. They especially have a great selling price. And as you can see, I am slowly filling in his cargo hold. But this should be doable. Theoretically, if the entire colony commits to supplying this vessel. Here's the problem. It's one airlock, and we're talking about... Okay, I actually will pull off calculator on my phone for the purposes of this. So, yeah, if you think I'm gonna do this from my mind, then you are not watching Not Your Professional Walkthroughs channel. You are watching some different channel, and I don't know what the hell do you expect of me. Anyhow, 15 plus 16, okay, I can do the math for this, that's 31, but then I would get lost. Plus 8... 39 plus 11, we're at 50 plus 7 plus... Okay, so 57 is the number of supplies. That's gonna take multiple runs of some of the colonists because we don't even have that many of them. And if I recall correctly, we have only one carrier robot. No, we have two carrier robots. Okay, my bad. But construction robots, driller robots will never carry anything towards a ship. So you cannot expect them to participate in this glorious event. And as you can see, this is being completely choked. I would love to see a mod or an update which would allow me to build a bigger airlock. That way, let's say group of 5 can be crammed in. They can be sprayed or decontaminated from the outside environment in order to enter the inside environment so that more people can go in and out. I don't really see the issue with that. I mean, if you allow me to build a gigantic wind turbine, why in the world won't you allow me to build a bigger airlock, right? I mean, who's with me at this point? I mean, if there is someone still playing Planetbase. I know that Dawn of the Man is really amazing game, and I from time to time really do enjoy participating in it. And eventually, if I eventually manage to upgrade my system, I'm gonna definitely make a playthrough for that, because holy fudge, there is so much content that can be squeezed out of that game, and I'm not even joking. But anyhow, right now we are stuck here. As you can see, the ship is being slowly crammed with a ton of stuff, but as you can see, due to this issue and some of the colonists sleeping off a hard day at work, we do not have everyone participating, especially if Lorita and the Mormon is taking a freaking spacewalk outside. I mean, what the hell is with all the engineers? Are you walking towards the... Okay, so you are grabbing all the ore outside. Okay, that explains everything. But once again, you see the engineers, rather than processing the freaking semiconductors or spare parts, they are freaking doing other dumbass things. So I'm gonna have to think of some way to keep them entertained. I'm not really sure if we can do some form of a sick jigsaw movie type of messed up game where I would put them in like a loop where they would have to just walk from one factory onto another factory. And this is what I was terrified of. We have 4 pieces of supplies that need to be dropped off. If the blizzard passes and I lift or stop the yellow alert, what might happen is that by the time that happens and 4 more people or robots get to the ship, the captain will just decide to lift off and the landing pad will be crammed with ton of junk, just as I described with my issues with the larger starports. And I also fear that we do not have any freaking ore inside here. Actually, we do. So I don't understand why... Okay, now that there is a blizzard and you cannot go outside, you are actually making the metal pieces. That's beautiful, but still I would rather kick your ass than... I don't know. I'm gonna probably have to just manage some form of a balance between the mines and the processing plants. Because when we eventually pick up enough of the driller robots, we should be able to theoretically offset the overall balance. So now that we are able to actually construct construction robots, this would be great because then the engineers don't have to go outside to fix stuff. The construction robots can do that. Okay, and here we are getting workers! Beautiful. Okay, so we are gonna shut off the colonist ships for now because we have 45 people, and I am fairly sure that 2 biodomes and 1 barely populated medium-sized lab will do the trick. So theoretically speaking, what we can do is to build a bigger lab facility in here. Okay, this is actually the bigger facility. So we need to take apart the cantina, which means I'm gonna have to build something around here, probably a bit further apart, and then another structure in here. What would be a great structure to build here? We have both of the biodomes fairly close to one another. The lab is the only exception, but this is gonna be a toughie. I'm gonna see what happens if we lift off or take down the high priority on some of these structures. I do wonder if the workers will just keep on showing up to do their damn job. Now, one thing which I will also need to do is to increase eventually the medical plant production. But we were able to establish somewhat of a decent supply, which should last for at least a day or 2 or another crisis. Okay, what do you have? Okay, you have recipe, but I don't care about that. You have, however, driller robot, and you take only 40% of commission, which is great. Now, the biggest problem into which we might run at the start of the game is that we will eventually run out of supplies that we can sell to the trader or the merchant himself. But do not fear, Max is here, and I should have a plan. And I don't. So we're gonna try to trade off whatever we can in order to obtain another robot for our colony. This one is Driller Robot. The Driller Robot possesses the advantage that he will constantly work in the mines, and this way the workers who would be normally in them can then switch to the processing plants. I'm gonna definitely look forward to that, and now that we have increased number of workers, I actually see, even despite the fact that we drop down the high priority task on some of these domes, the fact that they are consistently being manned by the people. So this is great. This is definitely great. One more class of robots which I would probably appreciate the most is the production robot, because apparently carrier robot carries stuff, driller robot, the trails construction robot fixes stuff, and in case we don't have someone manning the metal processor, well then we would have the production robot, which would theoretically make zero sense, because then we can try to just automate the metal processor, you know, so think of like Factorio or something. But I know, I'm trying to create the game into this beautiful image of something that it should not be, and it should be something challenging, which will kick my ass in an episode or two. So we're gonna see. I definitely need to replace the cantina. Now, ideally, what I want to do is actually to move the cantina in here. Like I said, having them close to one another might be good, but also might be the Achilles heel, because if everything runs out at the same time, and the colonists need to wait for another round of meals to be created, they might move on to other tasks or something, and that might kill them. Why do I keep getting... Hey, why in the world do you just keep supplying mushrooms to one meal maker? I seriously cannot micromanage this game. It would improve the quality of life of all the colonists so much. Oh man. Okay, so what do we want to do? I'm actually thinking, since there will be some form of an issue with, for example, building due to this small rock, that the cantina should be built here and the one over here should be moved away. You have a construction robot. I am keeping these spare parts no matter what, even if I have to pay this off using the ore. Great. Let's grab the construction robot. Therefore, the engineers should be able to work here on the semiconductors and spare parts. And we are gonna need a crap ton of them, and I'm not even joking. Like, seriously, the speed at which the wind turbines and solar panels deteriorate on this panel is like on this planet is like twice as fast. Which is also the speed at which I'm currently talking, because I'm excited and I'm trying to cram in like a crap ton of information of all the things that I have been thinking of while editing the videos and rendering the footage. Because, like I said, on multiple occasions, you might see the episode once, twice if you're crazy enough, 3 times if there is something horribly wrong with you, and 4 times and I love you. But yeah, I don't think that happens based on the metrics of what I see on my channel. Anyhow, the thing is that we're gonna need to form some form of an idea, and by the way, let me know what you think of the new microphone for the channel. If you have been subscribed for a bit longer, and you're still watching at this point, we love you long time, and if you're new here, welcome, I guess. Anyhow, like I said, we're gonna try to build the big cantina over here. This way, we have a high concentration point next to the oxygen generator, which is most optimal. That way we can keep on expanding, and the dorm should be out of too much of a traffic. Therefore, we can or should not run into the issue that in the middle of the night we are gonna get a notification that our dorm is running low on oxygen levels. Trust me, it's one of the most scariest things you can see. And if everyone chokes or suffocates in the dorm because someone had way too much beans in their pasta and there was a gas leak or something, you can understand the issue which I'm trying to prevent here. Okay, you are only interested in junk. Don't have anything of a value, but you have 65% commission, which is not the most optimal thing. We're gonna ditch some of this food. Hopefully they're gonna drop off the same type of junk, and we are gonna get at least something in return. 91 coins, I can live with that for 30 pieces of food. Yeah, maybe not the best choice, but we have some meals, so we should be all fine and dandy. Okay, so let's try to go for that expansion. I'm thinking I'm gonna build it here. And I'm gonna actually start constructing my way through here instead of through here. It might make a little bit more sense. The lab, I'm not really sure if I want to populate this lab specifically, because my idea is to connect these buildings or these structures with these buildings, which will be here. So therefore the lab might suffer because these structures are placed at the edges or the walls. So if I were to connect a pipeline or the connection from here to here, I'm quite sure that the tissue synthesizer and the workbench would be gone, and we would have room for like maybe one workbench and maybe like 2 synthesizers, and the rest would have to be crammed in here. So maybe we're gonna actually have to rethink this. Okay, so you are being now supplied, which means I can start taking apart whatever the heck is in the smaller cantina. We're gonna put this over here, we're gonna put this over here. Let's put in some TV. This will do for now. And because this is our main pipeline or main route, which is why the cantina here makes such a sense, I'm gonna start taking apart all of these things. Luckily enough for me, everything that is placed inside of them will not disappear, so we can reuse the bioplastic from one cantina and place it into the other one. The TVs can remain here because, well, people are addicted to their reality TV shows, I guess. I mean, I don't know, I'm currently starting to watch the Stargate SG-1 series, because I was able to grab a DVD collection box, so I'm super excited about that. But okay, so another raw materials trader, another dude with 65% commission. You gotta be freaking kidding me, right? Okay, spare parts are getting into the ridiculous segment. I still want to sell him at least something. Let's go for this. And we are gonna have to stop trading too. Because I feel like I have drained most of my supplies And most of the resources are currently sitting here in the shape or form of spare parts, which is like great. But on the other hand, we are lacking in the other segments of productivity. We're gonna have to do something regarding this. I'm not really sure if still the small tables are the better choice versus the larger tables, but this can sit 6 people while the big table can sit only 4, and you can squeeze only 1 in each of the corners. So we would squeeze in 12 people versus 18 people, and I think 18 people is much better for us. Okay, what would be a great structure here? Now, because I actually do want to possess a laboratory, but I don't want it to be somewhere through which a lot of connections should be connected. I don't think laboratory should be constructed somewhere around here. It's just not gonna be good because there are gonna be at least 3 points of contact to set biodome or dome, sorry. So we're gonna have to think of another way to create the synthetic tissue. I'm gonna keep this on for now, but these two definitely will have to be replaced by something better. What will that be? I do not know at this point. What I know at this point is that everyone should go back home. Are we looking? Burger, pasta, beautiful. Pasta, basic meal, screw you. Pasta. Okay. Man, we're gonna have one fat freaking colony. I feel like this is gonna end like the episode of Sopranos. One of the colonists will come up to me, shoot me in the face, and the screen will just go blank. Like the end of every Sopranos episodes, if you ever saw them. Not that in every episode they shot someone at the end, but each freaking episode ended with like a blank black screen. And I did not understand why. Seriously, if you haven't watched the show, go check it out. Great stuff. Okay, so now we need to think of some form of a way to cram this place with. And I think I know what might be the way to do this. I'm thinking I'm gonna try to cram in robotics facility. And hear me out. It doesn't really matter what's actually connected to the facility, because all these structures are on the inner 4 quarters, so nothing is connected to the corners, like for example lab or control center. So that might be a great thing, because if we do so, what might happen is that we will have a place through which in which the robots can be much better maintained. It's much worse, I think, if your engineer needs to run out and fix the robot versus if he has the small station where it manages or maintains its condition. Because once he starts to reach certain level of deterioration, he will automatically go to the robotics facility and try to fix himself. So I think this is the better option here. The ship has been dismissed because I don't see the point of trading just about anything. We were able to build up some steady supply of bioplastic and metal, so we should be able to build this facility. And like I said, since these are not affected by blizzard, and we do not have meteorites, I can build this structure like this without being afraid that one of these domes will be hit by a freaking meteorite. Like in the last episode of the first season, where I had a freaking, what's it called? The bar. And you know what happened to a bar which was placed right next to a laser, and next to that laser was a fully manned telescope? Well, guess what? It got hit by a meteorite, and like 10 people died at like in 5 seconds or 1 second. I was so freaking happy. So we're gonna try to avoid me turning postal or trying to like smash my desk with my heavy Corsair keyboard, because I think the IKEA desk will not survive the construction that Corsair managed to put into their keyboards. I mean, god damn it, this thing is heavy, but it has RGB. So anyhow, we're gonna get this constructed by some rogue robot, hopefully one day. Okay, so he is showing up. Okay, beautiful. Oh, you know what I thought of would be a great next structure? Yeah, multi-dome. Or theoretically, what we can do is cram in another oxygen generator. Like this. And if we do this, then theoretically I should be able to take apart this cantina, move it a bit here, and try to turn it into... Either I'm gonna turn this into a laboratory and not connect it to the robotics facility, or we are gonna connect even these two. Well, theoretically no, because I want to take this thing apart, so I will need to connect these two. Okay. We have crap ton of spare parts. I don't need guns as of yet. Lucky me. I don't even have a facility where I can store this stuff. But we really need to increase our food production because we are sitting on a lot of meals. But what I'm afraid of that we are gonna suddenly run out of the raw materials to make the meals out of. 35% commission. Let's do this. Now, we're gonna put in these, and I'm gonna try to put in 2 of these. For now, that should be theoretically, you know what, let's build in 2 more of these. I know it's gonna probably burn through most of our semiconductors, but I think it might be just the thing we need. Once this is constructed, hopefully by this engineer. Okay, so he did not get stuck in there. Now let's take apart these 2 TVs. And then I should be able to take apart this cantina. If I will be able to take apart this cantina, yeah, we are exceeding our water consumption dramatically. And I'm gonna need to build in another water extractor. My plan was originally to take apart this small guy. I'm just thinking I'm gonna have to build another bigger one in here. And if I will take apart this structure, and I swear to God these guys were inside and now they are outside and they are holding food or something, fun stuff. Once this is taken apart, I really hope for the love of God that I will be able to build a larger lab somewhere in these parts But for me to see that, I'm gonna actually have to get the remaining 3 bioplastics now. The hell out of here. And if I will be able to do so, we should be able to make the workbenches. We should be able to create a lot of the tissue synthesizers, which means that of course the lab here will be deconstructed and turned into like I don't know, one of the multi-domes or theoretically a bar, because we will have a biodome over here. Now, the reason why I want to have the tissue synthesizers is the fact that we are growing wheat, and wheat in combination with any type of meat turns into burgers. So it doesn't matter if you do chicken, pork, or cow, it's still gonna give us the burgers. So who doesn't love a burger? And this one is synthetic, so theoretically it can be vegan. I mean, it's synthetic tissue, so no animals were harmed in making of this burger. Therefore, you can kill the lettuce or tomato, which will go there, but not the cow. Think about that. What's your commission? 50%. Nope. Don't have anything to sell. We really need to move the bioplastics because this is freaking driving me insane. If we were to build this over here, I'm not really sure if it will be able to be connected to... I don't think there is like a middle ground in reaching all these structures. Like, we cannot build even larger thing here. And I'm not really sure if I want to go with another biodome. Because even if I would build the freaking biodome, it's kind of giving me this issue. So we definitely want to build the lab over there so that we can supply the base or colony with more meat. Because currently the only meal besides the basic meal will be pasta and basic. And I want to get rid of the basic stuff. Like, seriously, how the hell do you get 4 pieces of wheat into one meal maker? And we are sitting on a crap ton of chicken and mushrooms, which can be loaded there too. Reason why I don't want to go with another biodome again is that the laboratory itself will consume the workforce which will be required to manage these tissue synthesizers, which is why I'm actually considering building something else in here, like the multi-dome. This way we will have something to keep our people entertained. I know it might not be the most optimal thing to theoretically try and connect. You know what, I'm actually thinking I'm gonna move the cantina more over here. This way, if we do so, and I deconstruct this, I should be able to connect the cantina with the multi-dome, which will have then 2 oxygen generators here, which should allow us theoretically to have or be capable of supporting stupid amount of people in this section of the colony. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start doing this right now. I feel like a complete idiot, but I think that if I manage to set this up the right way right now, I'm gonna prevent some issues further down the road. And yes, I'm getting cocky. I'm thinking that I might try to squeeze like at least 5 or 10 episodes out of this season 2. Why are you eating here? I need like all this stuff to get the hell out of here. please don't tell me that the engineer will get stuck in between these two connections, or I'm gonna freaking be mad as hell. Stop eating there! Go elsewhere. Okay, one thing which I hate is that we cannot provide any form of a bar or something in this structure. Dude, you need to get the hell out of here so that I can clear this place out. Once this is cleared out, I really want them to start moving all of this stuff away. So let's do... like 3 pull-up bars, one of those wheel thingies. Let's put in some plants for decorations. This way we are at least moving the damn plastic or bioplastic from one dome into another, so that when I take it apart, it might give me less of a hard time. TV can be squeezed in here, theoretically in here. This should definitely improve the overall morale of the colony itself. Yeah, I'm quite sure that whoever is sitting down here will want to have someone get all sweaty while he's doing pull-ups next to them. I hate that I cannot rotate these structures on my own. Okay, time to see if we can do this. I want to build the larger cantina here. Not all the way over here. I want to build it like here. So we need to get these things out of there. Theoretically now I should be able to see if the lab can be a thing. Now here's the thing. I really don't want to connect it to the robotics facility. It's not required. If we only keep in 2 connection points, it will be much better than this lab is currently set up to be. We're gonna have to change this for another type of facility as well. Let's go ahead, connect these two. As you can see, the tissue synthesizer is gone. And this is why I did not want a laboratory to be in this section of the colony. We would run into the same issue. There is almost no room for the food to be processed or produced on a steady base. 45% commission, you trade with food, but we do have food. I am gonna sacrifice some raw materials, which I currently do not require in that much of a urgency. Also, it's not gonna require that much workforce to carry over 10 pieces of raw materials. We really need to move all this stuff, so please do that. And theoretically, if we build the cantina over here, what I might try to do is either build a biodome. We definitely need to take apart this lab. This will not do it for me. This way we are still connected through the oxygen generator to the storage and to the rest of the colony. But I kind of need to also be careful on our energy, because I'm building structures all willy-nilly, and I have not constructed a single thing which would be producing a kilowatt of energy more than we are currently generating, which might kill the colony too. Okay, if we build you here, I am happy. This way, if I build a biodome in this section, we'll have storage for the bioplastic processors, and we should be able to not carry food that far. Okay, so here we're gonna do the following. We're gonna put our workbenches here and our tissue synthesizers here. This way we should have 3 doctors who should be occupied. We have 2 doctors. Okay, so we're gonna have to increase that number. But we will have 2 pieces of chicken, 2 pieces of pork, and 1 beef for now. 2 porkies and 1 moo. Chicken, bacon, and a steak. And 3 stations for 3 doctors. Robotics facility is working great at maintaining our robots. The multi-dome is seeing a lot of success, which is extremely great to see. Also, I think that we might try to then expand into like a 3rd level through here. So no, it's not just gonna be me talking non-stop like at the start of the episode. I usually get carried away. Yes, that's true. I admit that. But it's only because I'm trying to make this into as much of a stimulating thing, either for the comment section or for the episode itself, that I'm trying to just hurl this huge amount of information in your general direction, which might either scare you away or confuse the hell out of you, or God knows what other negative thing. So I do apologize if I talk too fast. But with how my mind works, and if I don't get it out immediately, I kind of forget about the whole thing. You can understand my dilemma. Now here I can theoretically try to do something really weird. I can try to pay off this whole thing using these, or I can use some of these spare parts. I was able to accumulate over the period of time. 28 pieces are equal to 420. Rest is gonna be paid using coins. This way, we get 3 additional robots. I don't really want to go for the recipe for driller robots as of yet. We might get it later on. It's better for me to have the robots physically in the colony to increase their overall number to 9. We're gonna sacrifice an extremely valuable resource, which is coincidentally all located in this one spot. But if we now are capable of taking apart this lab, theoretically, we might have to take apart this connection too in order for this to be a viable thing. Because if I would connect the lab with the robotics facility, I would probably lose like 3 tissue synthesizers. I'm not willing to do that. And I'm quite sure that I might theoretically, squeeze in 1 more tissue synthesizer. So our biologist should be creating a stupid amount of synthetic tissue. Think of it as the impossible burger. And we should be able to also produce enough crops. Also, our energy is completely gone. We are down to our last battery. Yeah, this is gonna... I got super crazy, stupid, carried away. And because I kept the footage super fast, this is gonna bite us in the ass. So we're gonna see a night-night effect after a long time. Theoretically, maybe no. we're gonna have to expand our energy production dramatically. Okay, so the only thing which saved me is that the wind has picked up and also that we have day back again. Oh man. So let's raise the alert. Only requires 5 more spare parts, so they should be able to theoretically supply everything. We're gonna go again with 3. A lot of these small tables. And this time I'm not taking apart this dome even if it's gonna get hit by a freaking large piece of iceberg falling out of the sky. I don't care. You're staying where you are. Put in these, we're gonna put in TV. I think the blizzard has passed. Please don't fly away or I'm gonna probably kill myself. That's a lot of freaking metal. We're gonna need it. We're gonna need another battery too. I don't want to connect anything to the landing pad because then I'm unable to take it apart, and I promise you I really don't want to keep the landing pad here because then eventually when the armed intruders start to show up, I'm not gonna be able to defend the colony. Sure, we have the control center here, but if we take apart this thing, I won't require the control center to be stationed in here. Okay, you can provide me with 2 driller robots or the driller robot specs. You have only 40% emission. I'm gonna use coins. And you don't deserve any tip. So now, what I theoretically can do is swap the bot workshop to be able to process one type or another type, or eventually the other type. Definitely need to cram in somewhere a big battery. Batteries, lucky enough for me, do not require maintenance. The thing is, I'm not sure if I were to build a large battery here. That should still allow me to, yeah, we should still be able to expand into this sector of the map. But yeah, overall, we have done stupid amount of work throughout this episode. I was able to acquire lots of robots. I was able to rebuild some of the things which I will think will benefit us greatly. And hopefully you did enjoy the episode. If you did enjoy the episode, please consider giving it a like. This way the content is pushed onto more viewers thanks to the YouTube algorithm so that I can reach out to a bigger audience is the word I'm thinking, and create bigger community around the channel. And I know that I'm weird as hell, but I mean, tell me in 2020 who is not. And yeah, if you liked the episode, consider also checking out the channel. I publish stuff on a weekly basis, so you will have always something fun to watch. I do playthroughs, discussions, early in-game reviews if I find a title which I really enjoy, tips and tricks videos if I find a title which I am skilled enough to provide something which can be used as tips, and more. So check it out, and I will see you in the comment section or at the next episode. I'm gonna wish you a pleasant rest of the day, and hopefully I will see you at the next one. Thank you for watching, and goodbye! Now, what can I sell to you, my good friends? 60% commission. I'm gonna save you off flying, okay? And what in the world am I gonna do with the slab? Oh, you know what would be great? If we would actually create the control center in here and put there the control panels for the telescopes. It's actually not the dumbest idea. I'm gonna so forget about this idea because I'm such a moron. I can just myself doing that.